Pentagon Press Secretary Air Force Brigadier General Pat Ryder held a press briefing on Tuesday. Ryder answered a host of questions regarding American military inspectors in Ukraine. Members of the U.S. military are conducting inspections in Ukraine for the U.S. government to, quote, track U.S.-provided capabilities. Ryder ensured that the personnel involved in these inspections, quote, are not going to be operating on the front lines.
Hi, thanks. Travis Tritton with military.com. So the military has personnel inside of Ukraine who are doing weapons inspections now. I'm wondering what the rules of engagement for those personnel are if they're fired on by the Russians or if they're targeted by the Russians.
Yeah. So as mentioned, we do have small teams that are comprised of embassy personnel that are conducting some inspections of security assistance delivery at a variety of locations. And again, this is part of a broader effort of the U.S. government to track U.S.-provided capabilities and to prevent the illicit spread throughout Eastern Europe. Again, I will highlight up front, we have no indication that there has been any type of illicit spread. The capabilities that we provided to the Ukrainians are being used effectively on the battlefield. In terms of personnel that are conducting these inspections, my understanding is they would be well far away from any type of frontline actions. We are relying on the Ukrainians to do that. We're relying on other partners to do that. So essentially, that would not be the case for U.S. personnel. So again, that is something that will continue to ensure the safety and the welfare of our folks that are doing this. But the point being, they're not going to be operating on the front lines.
So up until this point, there haven't been any U.S. troops inside of Ukraine, and now we do have U.S. troops inside of Ukraine.
Well, that's not. We've had U.S. forces serving at the embassy as part of the Defense Attaché Office, which is where these guys are assigned. So we've been very clear. There are no combat forces in Ukraine, no U.S. forces conducting combat operations in Ukraine. These are personnel that are assigned to conduct security cooperation and assistance as part of the Defense Attaché Office.
Right, but this would be different because they'd be working outside of the U.S. Embassy. I'm just wondering if people should read this as an escalation in U.S. involvement in the war.
No. This is just responsible management of the capabilities that we're providing to the Ukrainians. And as I mentioned, the Ukrainians are working very closely with us to provide insight and tracking of those capabilities in places where it's not safe for U.S. personnel to go. Thank you.
Yep. Can you clarify, are there U.S. troops, like U.S. Marine security forces, protecting the embassy personnel who is doing the inspections?
We have U.S. Marines at the embassy doing normal U.S. Marine type guard duties, but my understanding is that, to your point, these are not combat squads that are going out. These are personnel that are going out in areas where they're not going to be in harm's way to conduct these types of inspections. Again, to put this into context, if you've got capabilities that are at a logistics node being tracked before they go into country, then when they come into country and they're delivered to the Ukrainians, and then they are at their own logistic nodes tracking those and then dispersed out to the front lines, our folks are not going to be on the front lines.
Are there Marine security guards going with the embassy teams that are conducting these inspections?
No. But we'll check on that and come back to you. Jim.
General, just by my own calculations, the Ukrainians on the air defense side have all the legacy Soviet systems. They got S-300s from Slovakia. They've got Stingers from the United States. They've got Hawks coming in from the Spanish. They have German systems. Pretty soon they're going to have the NASAMS. But for all of those air defense assets to be effective, they've got to be integrated. I mean, can that variety of air defense measures actually be integrated? They are vastly different systems. They have different radars. They have different everything, really.
Well, the short answer is you can integrate any air defense system. It just depends on how you're, the level, the advanced level of how you're going to integrate that. So that is, again, an area that we continue to work with the Ukrainians on, not only us, but our allies and our partners, to look at how they do improve their air defenses. But I would submit to you, they've demonstrated in many cases that they've done a very good job of integrating air defenses, particularly, for example, when it comes to taking down a significant percentage of the Iranian drones. But again, that'll be an area that we'll continue to work with them on.
Do we have contractors? Are there contractors in Ukraine working this problem, or is
Not to
that
my knowledge, no.
something outside?
Not to my knowledge. Yeah, thanks. Sir.
Thank you. So 2 questions. So the U.S. has mentioned that the Iranian arms shipments to Russia are a violation of UN Security Council resolutions, and the U.S. has previously interdicted Iranian arms shipments bound for places such as Yemen. Are U.S. forces working to intercept Iranian weapons bound for Russia?
Yeah, so I don't have anything to announce today in regards to any type of U.S. military interdiction of Iranian weapons. You've heard State Department and the White House talk about a variety of efforts to include potential sanctions to prevent that from happening. I will say from a DoD standpoint, right now our focus is on working with Ukraine to get them the security assistance they need where it matters, which is on the battlefield. But this is something that we'll continue to keep a close eye on.
And then the second was regarding the inspections. So just to confirm, are these are civilian or military personnel who are carrying out the inspections of the weapons in Ukraine?
It's embassy personnel. Let me get back to you in terms of the specific composition. As much as we can, obviously, within Operation Security.
And it was mentioned, I think, that the inspections have been going on and then they were halted and then they were resumed. When were they halted and why did that happen?
I'll have to get back to you on that. Thanks. Okay, let me go back to the phone here. Joe Gould, Defense News.
Hi, Pat. Thanks so much. Question on air defenses. The Vampire systems, the commitment to provide Vampire systems was announced going back a couple of months, but nothing's been finalized. What's the time frame around that, and what's the level of urgency given the drone threat at present? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much. As mentioned, air defense continues to be a priority. It's something we're going to continue to stay focused on and work as quickly as we can. When it comes to the Vampires, we do expect a contract award within the next few months. And then right now we're anticipating delivery to be mid-2023. Thank you. All right, let me go to Alex from Newsweek.
Hey, thank you for doing this today. So my question, a few weeks ago, CNN's Fareed Zakaria asked Secretary Austin a question about potential Russian nuclear weapons use. In his response, Secretary Austin said that the guy who makes that decision, it's one man. There are no checks on Mr. Putin. Just as he made the irresponsible decision to invade Ukraine, he could make another decision. Does this assessment reflect the understanding of the Pentagon? And if Vladimir Putin gives order to use nuclear weapons, whether tactical or strategic, is there really no way for anyone in Russia to potentially stop such an order from being carried out?
Yeah, so, we continue to take President Putin's rhetoric very seriously. It's something we continue to monitor closely. As Secretary Austin also said, we have no indications that President Putin has made a decision at this time to employ nuclear weapons. But again, it's something that we're going to watch very, very closely, continue to keep the lines of communication open with our allies and partners. So we'll just leave it at that. Thank you.